Good afternoon. It's Heather Biederman for Liberty Librarian. I missed you guys last week. Sorry about that. I have had a lot going on in my life, and I'm going to explain about it today because I'm sort of thinking we do a little vlog action and talk about what's going on in Heather's world for the Liberty Librarian. And I'm really glad to see you all. I'm sorry about missing you. I saw there's a ton of new subscribers too, so I figured I have to kick myself in the ass and get going and start doing this more. So let me tell you, long story short, it's summer here and I'm technically off work, even though I'm on a hiring committee the other librarian that I work with is retired. And so now I'm on a hiring committee for that. That'll take up a lot of time for the rest of the summer. And also, dumb girl here decided to start a doctorate program. So before I get into that, I am drinking. I'm also on a diet, so it's kind of a bad time to start a diet, but when is a good time to start a diet? Never. So I have started a diet, and I'm not going to drink much alcohol, if any, for the next few weeks. I'm going for 4 weeks. We'll see if I can hold out that long. No matter what, next 12 weeks, I'm going to cut it way down. So I am trying to jumpstart a healthier lifestyle, and I did really good. And I took a little break from it at the end of the semester, but now I want to get hardcore because I'm going to go to Dragon Con in Atlanta at Labor Day weekend. So I want to get down to my goal weight by then. We'll see if I can do it. So since I'm not drinking alcohol, this week I've tried this brand new product by Hoplark. I've been drinking their tea, hopped tea, during my first part of my 12-week diet that I lost over 30 pounds, which, by the way, worked really good. And it makes me feel like I'm having a beer, even though I'm not, because it's got the hoppy flavor that I miss, and you know how it is. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to switch to comments so I can see it when you guys are posting. Hello, I see people watching. So the one I'm going to have today, I had a Sabra one yesterday for the Sweet Subversive show. This one I'm going to have the Mosaics hops because it says, let's see if I can get it on the camera, feeling adventurous. And I'm feeling adventurous because you know what? COVID's over, got my second shot, whatever that means. Freedom. So Heather wants to have some adventure in her life. So I'm going to get skinny and hot, and I'm going to drink this hopped water. It's sparkling water is the new stuff. The other stuff is tea. So the sparkling water has no calories, no caffeine. All it is the flavor of the Mosaics hops, and there's no sweeteners. So it is diet friendly. So if you're looking for something that kind of tastes beer-like, it's not beer. It's just kind of yum. And actually the one I had last night was a little bit tropical. I really like that one. So I hope I like this one. I'm sure this one's a lot more hoppy. So we'll see if I like it. So yes, Hoplark water. So yum. Ooh. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. It's a little sparkling water, so it's got a little fizz, which I like. Smells a tiny bit floral and even a little bit green. Like there's a hint of like spruce to it. I don't know what that's about. Very good. So success. Yay. Okay. So what else? Trying to get skinny, walking more. My Fitbit that I had for 4 years died. And the good news is, like, I got my husband his own Fitbit last September because I'm like, I love my Fitbit. I wear it all the time. It's so cool. It motivates me to walk more, and I like having it so you can check your messages. You can see your heart rate. You see if you're exercising hard enough. I love my Fitbit. So it died. It did. So I got him one, and he doesn't like the whole. He doesn't like checking on it. He just wants a no frills watch, which I totally get. So I found a couple that I really think he'd like that have pedometers built in, but they're really expensive and they're nice, but no frills. He doesn't have to mess with it. I feel bad because I really wanted him to like the Fitbit, but I'm not going to make anybody like anything. So since my Fitbit died and he wasn't really that hardcore with his, I got a new Fitbit watch. So I'm ordered some more girly bands because he got a black one, but I'm messed around with the face. I finally figured out how to, I mean, it's different enough. I got him a nicer one than I had. So I'm kind of like, oh, I get an upgrade. So Fitbit, yay. I like tracking stuff. And I think if you're on a diet, it's good to kind of just keep track of the calories, keep track of like how much are you exercising so you can be mindful about what you're doing. And I have some supplements that I've been using. I think when I'm done with this round, I'm going to write it up in a real short like mini book and then post it on Amazon cuz I figured out a combination of supplements that I think help with calorie control, like with cravings. I think I've got the magic holy grail, and I think it's working really well. So because I'm like the first few weeks I'm doing really low calorie, and it's hard to do. And in the past when I've tried to do lower calories, I fail. But I found a way to stick with it, and I think it's this combination. So I'm going to go through it and see if I can keep up with it, and then I think I'll write it up in a little book because it's not really anything different. It's just what works for me. So I think it's kind of cool. So I'm sticking with it. I am doing my best. I think after I get through this first phase where it's lower calorie, I'll start adding more calories and also adding more and more exercise because I'd like to get to the level where I just never have to do a hardcore diet again. And it would always be just eat healthy and exercise. That's where I'd like it to be. And people are like, just start with there. And when you do that, it takes about 5 years to get to where you want to be. And I'm just saying with myself, I give up because I don't see the results coming quickly enough. And then I just get depressed about it and I give up. So I think the way I'm going about it works for me. And I'm in a LP Get Fit group, which I totally recommend because they're like cheerleaders for each other. And it's kind of awesome to have a group of friends and even just acquaintances that you kind of know have stuff in common with that kind of cheer you on. The goal for this group is to be fit and in shape by next summer, where we're going to have the LP National Convention in Reno. So we'll all see each other there and look awesome. So if you're interested in the LP and you're also interested in getting fit, go to the LP Get Fit Caucus. They're freaking awesome people. Ken Molman's kind of gotten everybody rallied together, and he has done amazing. And it makes me kind of motivated to do the same thing. So if you're wanting to do it, they're doing it more what I call the right way, the like eating like lower carb, like lower like calorie restricted, but then also exercise. And so I feel like finding a good balance of exercise, maybe not starting off too crazy, because for me, when I get too crazy on exercise right away, I get super hungry. So it's fighting that hunger. It's been really challenging. So anyway, that's one of the obstacles that have been going on in my life that have made it hard to do Liberty Librarian, is that diet makes me tired and not motivated. And then I sleep weird right away. Once I get kind of into the diet, I'd say about the 2-week mark, I'm super good. I don't know what it is. It's like 2 weeks of anything and it's a habit. So I think if I can get to the 2-week mark, I will be pretty good. And so that'll be this next Monday will be 2-week mark. I had one day where I fell off the wagon last Saturday. We had graduations and my mom's birthday party. Happy birthday, Mom. We had a delicious, healthy meal. I tried to make it as healthy and low calorie as I could. It was really good. We had like asparagus and watermelon and, pork loins. It was so good. But that same day, I went to a graduation party, and my husband's cousin's kid had a graduation party, and I was doing really good until I got there, and they had a food truck with ice cream, and I ate like a couple scoops of ice cream. So my weight loss was a little stalled. Plus, then my blood sugar jumped up. So, everybody has those kind of things where you kind of fall off the wagon, you get back on it. If you just get back on it right away, it usually works out pretty good. So, didn't throw me off too much. Like, instead of losing for, a day, I was like a little bit up. So, I think what I've read is that it's kind of good for you to have those little moments where you have like a cheat day or a cheat meal. And the cheat meal kind of tricks your body into going, oh, things are okay. So then you don't like go into starvation mode. So that's been my big fear. The first round of doing this diet was that I would go into starvation mode. Oh, the sun went away. It was like whoosh. So I don't want to screw up my diet. I don't want to get unhealthy, but you do what you do. So that's my tale of that. And I'll keep you guys updated on diet stuff. There's a lot of weird stuff I'm looking at trying, but I'll go over that later. It's just like, to me, it sounds exciting, but I know it's kind of like, unless you are hardcore dieting, you really don't want to hear about it. Nobody likes diets, right? Oh, I see love. I love you. Yes. So, okay. What's going on, Heather? I decided to go into a doctoral program. Now is a good of time as any. I've thought about doing it for years. I have 2 master's degrees, one in library science and one in educational leadership. And when I was getting my second master's, I had talked to one of my roommates from our Italy trip, and she had said, hey, Heather, why don't you just go get your doctorate now? I mean, it's only like a little longer. And I'm like, yeah. But what was holding me back was, as one of the benefits of where I work is, if you work there long enough, you can go back to school and they will help you pay for it. It's not everything. A lot of times there's fees, and your books and everything are like you pay. But it's a big chunk of it that they help pay for. So I was in a union where they wouldn't pay for a doctorate. So I was like, okay, gotcha. So what I did was I got a second master's in educational leadership, which was amazing and great. And I loved the program at Minnesota State University, Mankato. I had a great advisor, a really weird. Oh, I gotta see what you say before I do it. I tried pre-cooked shrimp wrapped in nori. Never eat seafood. It was good, but I couldn't stand it for long. If you never eat seafood, dude, Martin, it's just like, if you're not into it, you're just not into it. I love seafood. This is a hard thing for me to pass up. Like my friend Kara and I love oysters and seafood. And if there's somebody has it, I'll eat it. Luckily I live in Minnesota, so like I don't have to like I have to go out of my way to find good seafood here in a small town anyway. So it's fine. But if I happen to go somewhere like Atlanta or, Las Vegas, where we were, it's everywhere. So I got to be really careful, because I am such a foodie and I love food. And so I have to work really hard to just make the healthy stuff really tasty. Oysters, Kara, oysters. I want to eat them. And really, they're not really high calorie. They're high carb. They are high protein. So I feel like they satiate you more. So I think I give it a pass. I always feel like seafood, shrimp is low calories. Crab is low calories. It's just high carb. And don't dump butter on it. I love butter, though. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, so back to doctorate. So now I've been working at my college for 3 years, and I have passed my probationary period. So I could have started it 3 years ago. I could have started the first day, but I wanted to make sure I knew my job, and I felt like it's only fair for me to wait until I pass my probationary period and then start, even though it's something I've always wanted to do. And it wasn't a big thing in my head during the pandemic because, everybody was really at home. I could have done it then, but it was such a depressing time, and the work was all online, and I just couldn't see having all of my life online for this period of time. So, no, I didn't want to do it. But, earlier this spring, I thought about it again because I knew this summer was the first time I felt comfortable to do it. And it was going to get mostly covered because I'm in a different union now. I'm faculty. Yay. And they're more welcoming to people pursuing professional development, continuing education. I have taken some, in the meantime, I'd taken some English as a second language classes online, and I have enjoyed it, but I decided that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to have the degree. I felt like it's something that I wanted to learn more about academic writing and publishing, and I think that it will really help me with that. If I wanted to become an administrator in libraries, it would help me with that. I had struggled between, should I just wait and pay out of my pocket and do a PhD? PhD would take longer because there's more of intense research aspect to it. And so, whereas I'm looking at the Doctorate of Education, the EDD, and this is more a practical, practicing kind of doctorate. So think of like a lawyer, a doctor of law is a lawyer, a law degree. You could say there's a doctorates of business, and there's, these are practical degrees. A PhD is a degree in a doctorate in philosophy. So that usually takes about, most people, 6 to 8 years. Yes, here, let me explain it to you. So they're both doctorates. A PhD and a doctorate are doctorates. There are PhDs in education. There are educational doctorates, so EDD. They are, if you look at what you do, they're practically the same thing. The amount of classes are about the same. The amount of time is shorter for the doctorate of education, the EDD, compared to PhD. The main thing is that most of the dissertations for the doctorate of the philosophy, so PhD for education, you would spend more time preparing for a research project, a research dissertation. You would spend years developing it and doing a study. You would have more time. I would say most people spend about half the time on their dissertation, and it's going to just take longer. And I'm going to be working the whole time. Most of the people who do PhDs aren't working at the same time they do a PhD. You would have to take time off from your career and do your PhD and then come back. So it's very intense, and it's not friendly to people who want to keep working while they're doing it. So doctorate in education, I could have went with a PhD route, but I decided that for me, I want to be able to use this. I'm not as interested in the hardcore research aspect of it. Never was my interest. So not only because it was more the degree I wanted, it was cheaper for me to do it that way. And Winona State, where I'm going to be doing this at, has this is our third cohort that they're just starting with me, and that starts in July. I've taken 2 classes before that, so I'll take 3 classes this summer. It is the 3rd year that they've done it, and they've kind of tailored it and streamlined it. They have a new person who's in charge of the program who I really like. And why I chose this program was because the doctor, Dr. Steve, who is in charge of the program, he also has a library background, which is very rare in most education programs to have anybody who's on their faculty who has a background in libraries. So I feel like I already have he's a kindred spirit. So I think it's going to work out really well. He already, everything I talk about, he knows what I'm talking about. And whereas most of the people in my program are actually K through 12, K through 12 teachers, and they have just a whole different background. And it's interesting to talk to them, but it's not always the same thing that I'm into. So a lot of them are trying to either be higher level paid faculty in their institutions, or on a path to being an administrator, like a superintendent, a principal, that sort of thing. I could use this to become a dean of a library, a director of a library, that higher level faculty. I could teach at a university. A lot of times they require a doctorate. So this could be a road to that too. So I just want to open up possibilities for what I can do. I'm one of the older people in the program, which will weird you out because there's somebody who just is basically got done with their degree and they're going right into the doctoral program. And to me, that just seems weird. Like, how do you even know what you want to do when you're in your early 20s? Some people do, I guess, but not me. I was like, I'm a leaf on the wind, baby. I don't even know. So why is this a good time for anybody actually to go back to school? Any program. Right now, as a doctoral student, this is a great time to go back. If you were scared to go back before, the support is so much better now. Everyone is has more empathy. They are more willing and excited to work and help out. I think people are getting that renewed interest in like helping each other out and helping people move forward. So I feel like there's this renewed energy in programs. Also, COVID almost killed a lot of programs. So the amount of people who are coming back are far less than they were even last semester or 2 years ago, when people were starting this last cohort. People are they were less interested. I love going back to school, Martin. I will say that's the other thing is I love taking classes. I love learning, and that will never stop. Even if I finish a degree, I will always take classes every so often because I do. I like learning. I constantly read nonfiction because I always want to know more about the world and learn and get better. So that's never going to stop. But let me say, if you are interested in going back to school, one of the things that was holding me back, and I think it's a thing that is pretty common, is that they would require these big tests. Like you remember if you graduated from high school, if you were looking at going to college, and made you take the SATs or the ACTs, and those were a huge stress. They freaked people out. They made us do these classes in high school, like the PSATs, which I did really good. It didn't do me any good to do well on my ACTs, but I took the test and I was like, yeah, I could get in. They're like, oh, you'll get a full ride scholarship. I have never gotten a full ride scholarship. I am not in sports, which now I know. I didn't know then that you had to be in all these sports to get scholarships. That's the thing that they didn't tell me. And I wasn't a jock, so it wouldn't have mattered. And I was in the humanities, so nobody cared. And they still don't really care. You have to make your own way in the world. So I didn't want to spend tons of money and then not even know for sure if it was going to happen. And so in preparing for a test, that seemed daunting because I remember all the work that went into doing the PACT, the PSATs, and it was terrifying. And I just didn't want to do it. Oh, they wanted you to do a senior year, although they were going to let you skip your junior year. No deal. Yeah, I know it. I just think that a lot of times the hoops that we got to jump through really hold people back. And something like the GRE, which I just looked up, the cost of the GRE this year is $205. and you have to schedule a time, and usually about a month in advance to get to take the GRE. A lot of schools require it, except now one of the things that are going through is that they want to encourage more diversity in schools, and to do so they realized that only the rich students could really like just pay $200 for a test that they didn't know for sure it would, if they would do well enough to get them into a school that was competitive, that they didn't know for sure if they could get in. So there you have it. $200. I was like, no, I don't think I'll do it. So it kind of kept me in the back of my mind thinking, I don't want to do it. But then in the last year, 2 years, year and a half, I think during COVID, schools have almost like half of them have stopped requiring GREs. I took one that was called the Miller Analogies test when I went to library school. So I had to take a test to get into that. You'd think after you get 2 master's degrees that you wouldn't have to do another test to get into a doctoral program, but it was for a long time. You had to do it anyway. But now, a lot of the schools, a lot of state schools especially, aren't requiring it. The higher tier ones, you're like MITs, I think a lot of them still recommend it. You know, if you take it and send it in, it doesn't hurt you in any way to do it. It's just they're not always requiring it. There's Rory. Hi, Rory. I'm surprised he's been like super like all over the place today. Oh, I looked on the wrong side. There you are. And Barfy. He is a glutton, and he had to eat all the cat food at once, and he threw it up. So I'm hoping that that's the end of it tonight. I've had 2 deadlines looming up on me, like one last night and one today. And every time I get close to a deadline, the cat throws up. I don't know what it is. It's my bad luck. Age discrimination, it's a huge thing. And I have seen it where they want to make sure you have English language sufficient, and make people take tests for proving that. There's a lot of doorways stopping you from getting into a program. But let me tell you that there are far less students going back to school right now. And if you have ever thought of going back to school, they're going to welcome you with open arms and throw a lot of the things out that they had used to stop you in the past, because they really, really want people to go back to school. So like in my program, there's supposed to be up to 20 people. And I'm just going to say, like, I was super worried that I wouldn't get in, because I'm like, oh, you had to get like 5 recommendations. And actually, I think it was 3. And then I had 5 just because I was worried that one of them wouldn't be able to get in time. And because I did it at the last minute, I was worried, and I had to write a professional goals description. It was like a couple pages long. You had to like have your CV together. You had to show that you're working in the field. It was scary. It was so scary. And a lot of the websites talk about that you have to do an interview after that. And so I was totally ready for the interview, and I was nervous about it and scared. And then I was accepted. I didn't have an interview. And so I'm just like, things are different now. They're so different. And, I set up a Zoom meeting with the head of the program and talked about, what I'm about with libraries, and found out that he was, he had just came from a system where he was working with libraries. So I was like, oh, cool. I felt like it was a good fit for me. But let me tell you, if there are things that were holding you back, now is a great time, because they are really willing to work with people and open it up a bit, because people aren't doing it. I think they're still a little bit burnt from COVID and pandemic and not willing to try. And I think now it's a really good time to do it. Does that mean it's going to be easy? Hell no. I mean, I've started taking 2 classes this summer, and it's the summer, so it's really hard to want to just be motivated. But I'm doing it all online, and I'm used to in-person classes, and this is kind of a challenge. Luckily, we have a couple Zoom meetings, like about every Tuesday. I do a Zoom meeting, and it helps, like having that. You're talking to people. It helps me. Other people are fine. They just want to do the work and get it over with. Um, I'm spending like every day working on homework, and it's going to change my life for the next couple years. I'm not going to lie. I get scared about it. I've had anxiety. I get like this twitchy eye because I'm like, oh my God, there's so much to do. And like, I have to know APA style, and I learned MLA style for citing stuff. I got to learn that again. It's like there's always something new. And what's good about it is you learn that you're never done learning in life. You always got to keep yourself on your toes. And I think it's going to be really good for me, a little scary. But we use what's called D2L. So it's an online classroom format. And there's like discussion every week, every day. I kind of look into it. They've done one really kind of interesting thing about it's kind of a journaling process. And I use what's called Evernote, if you've ever used that. And I actually kind of like it. So what they're asking us to do all throughout our doctoral program is doing what's called a commonplace book. Google that. Commonplace books are kind of neat. I actually like it better when people do it as like a paper commonplace book. You have like a journal, and you write your ideas every day, or something you saw in the news, something of interest to you. So he's going to have us do, like, if you find things that help with your program or things that you might want to write about later, you just throw it in your commonplace book. And that can be your paper journal, or I use Evernote just because I like that you could share it with people. So I shared it with my instructors so they can write comments on it, and you can do it as a note. You can do it as like a meeting. You can do planners in it. It's essays, meal planners in it. I know a lot of people use it for different things. I use the free version, so it's kind of cool. I just think it's neat. Like, why not? Do it. Do you. So anyway, I'm doing that. It's going to be in July. I'm going to be in this program for 3D printing. You're never too old. I deliver food to college students. Everybody likes food, dude. 3D printing. What's kind of neat to me right now is they're looking at doing a remodel at our school that I work at, and they're looking at giving us a maker space, which will have 3D printers. And I'm trying to figure out for sure that we're in charge of it or not, because they've been very vague about it. But the way the schools work, it might be years and years before that's even built. So I might get to play with it in a couple of years, though, Martin, and it'll be awesome. So you're always learning, right? I mean, even if you don't do it like as a job, what cat? You can do it for fun. I mean, I learned so much stuff more for fun. Like just getting this new Fitbit, I'm like learning how to set time on it, and it just fires up different parts of your brain. Like I use YouTube videos to learn about. Look at this freaking cat. King of the jungle he is. Naughty boy. What do you want? What you want? He loves it when I'm working on class stuff. He'll sit and stare at me. He sits on a chair and watches me work. You want to show people your face? There you go. He's such a pretty boy. And my girl Zoe does the same too. She doesn't want to ever be on TV though. It's always very rare. Zoe sightings are rare. Rory sightings not so rare. And I'm talking, looks like, to myself, so he thinks I must be talking to him. Right. Anyway, so I'm starting the doctoral program in July. I'm gonna put him down because he's in the way. July we do a residency for 1 week, and I live there. I live in Winona State for a week, and that's gonna be intense. I'm gonna miss my kitties, and then we won't do a show that week because I won't be home, and then who knows how much work I have to do every night. But next year will be the most intense. It'll be mostly all of my classes, and it looks like about 2 or 3 nights a week. I'll be having online classes and I'll be working full time, and it's going to be crazy. I'm not going to lie. It's hard stuff. We're getting recognized and reorganized. I seen a couple of my libertarian friends that just got their doctorates, and I am really proud of them. And I just know that we got a lot of smart people in the Libertarian Party who are getting stuff done, and I have a dream that it's going to be a change in views on higher education, because a lot of people think that when they think of libertarians, they think anti-education, anti-establishment, not being like helping their communities, being in it for themselves, being selfish. And Kara and I talked about this last night, that we're the ones that are starting voluntarist groups. We're the ones helping our own local communities, starting things and filling gaps where the government is letting stuff fall through. And I see a lot in education, higher education, where the government is letting stuff fall through, and it's not always doing things the right way. Now, does that mean we got to get rid of it totally? No, and it won't happen. I'm just going to say, whenever I hear people say, we're going to get rid of this and we're going to start over, it's never going to happen then. It's just like you think like you're going to get rid of the government and start over. It's a nice thought, but it won't happen. There's too many powerful people at the top who will not let it happen. You have to chip away from it from the inside, start small, work your way up. So the same concept goes for higher education and K through 12 education. You need to make changes locally and show people that your ideas can be successful and grow it. That's how you make change. You don't start over, and you got to work with people who have different viewpoints than you. So how do you get it so we're all kind of going the same direction? That's what I'm hoping for. And that's what I want to learn more about the system so I can make changes from the inside. So yes, this is part of why I have this evil plan to get a doctorate. And it's totally evil because it's going to take away all the fun time, and I'm not going to get to drink and party and have fun as much because I got to be serious about stuff. I got to make change. I got to make the world a better place. And if I don't do it, who's going to do it, right? Right. So I hope me talking a little bit about this today gets you a little inspired, gets you excited. If you were ever thinking about, being a diplomat, exactly. You have to be a little diplomatic. You can't just expect people to, like, you stomp your fist, I'm on my way, and then they go, oh, okay. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. So you work with people. You try be a good person. Maybe they'll want to like work with you. So that is what's going on, and I will give you updates as more stuff happens. I'm taking 2 classes right now, and my 3rd class, that's the main doctoral class with the residency, starts on the 15th. So I will be a little stressed for this next year, but I'm going to do my best to try to keep Liberty Librarian going. I might have to change times during the semester once I know when my classes actually are, but I just want to give you a heads up because I know people get worried. Somebody is like joking like that I had COVID. I'm like, I don't have COVID. I have a doctoral program. That's but worse. The stress is bad. But I'm going to be like really excited when I'm done. And I'm going to be excited in the process. And I'm going to learn some stuff. And I'm going to hopefully share some of it with you. So you don't have to go through it. You can live vicariously through me and see what it's like. So I will share. And I might have a few just separate vlogs where I talk about it. So that way you can like get your news too. So, but I'm going to keep Liberty Librarian going. I love doing the show. I love doing Sweet Subversives with Kara. And I know it's a lot of hard work for both, but when you're a busy person, you just keep filling up the time. People love to see you, and they want to support. So if you have tips, if you've gone through things like this, send them my way. Send me sympathy, whatever. It's all good. So anyway, intellectual freedom news. The main thing I wanted to talk about this week is, did you see the thing about Amazon has a new thing that's coming out called Amazon Sidewalk? Now, I'm going to just show, let's see if I can share screen. Here it is. It's on CNET. There's an article today. Sidewalk is kind of integrated to all the Alexa stuff. So if you have Amazon products, which I have, I have a Kindle and I have I have a Kindle tablet kind of thing, and it's built into my phones. I use Kindle almost exclusively for all my ebooks, and I know a lot of people use the doorbell one that has a camera built into it, which is very spy-y, by the way. They use the Echo that as music. I actually looked at getting it because my speaker music thing is dying, and I had it hooked up to my iPod Touch, which is totally dying. So I'm looking at it, changing it to being more Android. And I looked at those, but I'm a little afraid now that I've seen that this Amazon Sidewalk is going to make it so your Alexa stuff will allow other people's devices near your home, just near your home, to stay connected by borrowing a sliver of your bandwidth. The interesting part about the idea is they're kind of stealing a mesh network idea. I know I've gone to a couple libertarian and agorist conferences and festivals where they made their own mesh network, which is kind of like their own homegrown internet. It uses these different devices to throw a signal. So you have your own internet and you don't have to use another service. It's kind of cool. It's a neat idea. And that's why they grabbed onto it. Except they're doing it without letting people really know what's going on behind the scenes, and they're doing it in a way so it opens you up for some potential privacy issues, which you don't want. And I am big about privacy. So if you have Echo or any of these Alexa devices or Amazon devices, June 8th is the day that Amazon Sidewalk is this feature that keeps your home devices better connected, especially around the edges of your property. So it's throwing out signal a little farther. So it's using your neighbors who may have it to expand your service area, which in theory sounds great, except for the privacy issues. So they're using a mesh network, their own Amazon mesh network. So it uses long range signal stuff. So here, I'll stop sharing. So it's like what they said is Bluetooth. It's going to have 900 watt signals. Where did my thing go? There we go. So 900 megahertz, LoRa signals, and a small fraction of your own home's Wi-Fi bandwidth. So it's going to use all of these things together to amplify your signal. So you'll get great signals. So if you have a huge yard and you have neighbors, it'll kind of pull from all of that, and you may get better service. Like you may get a better range. If you take your Echo Dot way out into the back of your yard, you might be able to get signals that you never got before. So you will be impressed and in potential peril of having hackers get into your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and signals of your devices and going through that to get into your private data. So this mesh network idea, I think, is actually really cool, but I don't trust Amazon to do it well. And the Echo is a middleman between these and those smart lights in your backyard, and they're just at the edge of Wi-Fi range, so it throws a signal out farther, right? So it's not just for outdoor lights and other smart home gadgets, it's for everybody. So if your neighbor uses sidewalk-enabled mailbox sensor that's in the range of your sidewalk bridges in your home, then the sensor may well use your network to connect to the cloud. So other devices can connect to your network and use your signal. So they're going to be sucking on your web. And if you already are pushing the boundary of how much internet you use at home, it might slow things down. It's raising a lot of eyebrows in the world because it's enabled by default, because of course it is. So what you got to do is you're going to have to, on that date, you're going to have to make sure you go into the account section and turn it off manually if you don't want to participate, which I think you probably shouldn't unless you're really like, you know what, this is the only way I'm going to get these services to work this far out and I have to have it. Then you got to be thinking really hard about, is this worth potential privacy issues or having somebody suck on your internet for free? Because there's reasons you have passwords on your internet, right? So the second permission is all about the tile trackers, the tiles capitalized, and other sidewalk enabled devices that help people find things. So it says if you enable community finding, you have the option to help your neighbors by sharing your bridge's approximate location to provide benefits like helping them locate their pet. So neighbors using community finding won't be able to see the exact street address of your sidewalk bridge. They will only see the approximate location. It helps all of your sidewalk bridges. So it's important to note that Amazon makes it anonymous of the location data. If they had community finding turned on, if someone dropped a wallet with the sidewalk enabled tile tracker in it outside their house, they'd receive an alert, the approximate area where the wallet is located. So they're these tiles, like you can have little, I think it's dongles you can put on stuff that's important or something in your device, and it will help you, like if you lose your phone, it will help you geolocate where things are. So there's cool stuff with this. I totally see why they want to do it, but it's also nerve-wracking about the privacy. So on by default, the things that are turned on: localized Bluetooth LE connections between the sidewalk bridges and sidewalk enabled devices, long-range Bluetooth LE and 900 megahertz connections between your sidewalk bridges and sidewalk enabled devices outside your home, including other people's devices, long-range Bluetooth LE and 900 megahertz connections between sidewalk enabled devices and sidewalk bridges outside the home. That's like, they just said that twice. And then bandwidth sharing to send these signals to Amazon servers using your home network. No more than 800 kilobytes per second transmission and 500 megabytes of data per month. So there's a cap on it, thank God, because I could see it going out of control. But it's still maybe more than what you're comfortable with. So think about this before you just let it default on. And then you have to opt out of turning it off. So location alerts that share your home's approximate and anonymized location with other users when they lose sidewalk enabled devices, like a tile tracker within range of your sidewalk bridge, it'll show where it's located. So what are the devices, Heather? There's a list of devices that double as sidewalk bridges, along with things like the 4th generation Amazon Echo, the Echo Show 10, the Ring floodlight cam, the Ring spotlight cam, and then there's some wearable sensors from Care Brand designed to track people living with dementia, which could be good. So what they're hoping for with that is that somebody gets lost and there's a lot of people who have Amazon devices, that it will help them track, like they might walk within the distance of one of these devices and it will help track them. So it's basically a tracking software. So I think that's actually their darker side of it, but it could be a good thing for somebody like who is worried about a loved one who has dementia. If they keep the tracker on them. So anyway, how do you adjust it? It's really easy. You go into settings, account settings, and then look for Amazon Sidewalk to find the main toggle for it. Tap community finding and turn it off. So that's an easy fix. So yes, I want to go back to fiber optics. I know those are so cool too. I mean, lightweight, beautiful. You're sending information in the light. It was beautiful. I think they should do it like glow sticks, information with glow sticks. You know, like point a glow stick and all this information. It'll be like a disco, a rave, more like it. Information. Sorry. Anyway, so that is my big news from the week. So take a look at if you have the devices and think long and hard if you actually want to keep them. It is a little scary. We're having a virtual ALA celebration this last week. It actually coming up June 24th. Sorry, I was thinking it was May 24th. No, June 24th is a virtual celebration featuring band authors, and we're celebrating Intellectual Freedom Award winners. There's an Intellectual Freedom Awards celebration on the 24th, and they're having band author Kyle Lukoff is going to speak to the group about it. So if you're interested in intellectual freedom news and that sort of thing, American Library Association has a great website that I go and get lots of news at every week, and it is off the hook awesome. So anyway, that is coming up in a couple weeks. I got to put that on my calendar so I don't forget. Censorship. Things kind of slow down in the summer, I think, or at least they don't post as much about it. Maybe it's because there's less K through 12 news right now. What was I going to show you? I got all excited about the Alexa stuff. Minnesota courts. Okay, my own state. The Star Tribune had an article last week called Minnesota courts again turn back push to restore felon voting rights. Secretary of State insists legislature is the best path for change. So what's going on with that? Minnesota Court of Appeals this week became the second court in 2 years to reject a lawsuit seeking to restore voting rights to Minnesotans who are on felony probation sentences. The suit was filed against Minnesota Secretary of State Steve Simon in 2019 by the American Civil Liberties Union of Minnesota on behalf of 4 Minnesotans serving long felony probation terms. It placed Simon, a vocal proponent of restoring voting rights to all non-incarcerated felons, in the awkward position of defending the constitutionality of a law he wants changed. So in the interview on Tuesday of last week, Simon says, that the legislature, not the courts, should be the venue for restoring such rights. As a person, as an advocate, he says, I strongly favor restoring the right to vote to those who have left prison behind. He said, I've never made any secret of that, and I think Minnesota is happily moving in that direction. So the staff attorney for the ACLU said the group would keep fighting and appeal this week's ruling to the state Supreme Court. So he wants, I like that the Secretary of the State says that he thinks that he's in favor of it, except he doesn't want it. Not the way they're doing it. So he wants it to go through legislature, and I can see that. So maybe this is a good way of getting it recognized. Felony disenfranchisement is one of the enduring and systemic racial disparities of criminal justice system. Depriving people of their right to vote further entrenches these disparities. So I would like to see that go away. I mean, isn't the point of them serving their sentences and doing the time mean that they've done what they had to do to wipe their slate clean and start over? And a lot of times people say no. Why is it that they say no? I think people should have a right to vote if they did their time. While they're in jail, maybe not, but if you can get out of jail and you've you did the work, you tried, and you are making up for the things that you did wrong. And think about this. A lot of the people who've gone to jail are people of color who have had maybe drug offenses or, crimes that didn't even hurt people, if this is getting arrested for prostitution is like 2 adults, whatever. I just don't see why a lot of people don't have a right to vote for nonviolent crimes. It just doesn't make any sense. And even violent crimes, sometimes there must be a way around this. I just feel like that's very interesting and odd. So it's one of those things. They talked in the article about supporting voting rights for felons on probation or supervised release is broader in the DFL-led House than it is for the Senate. So there's more Republicans in our majority have been skeptical about the prospects of reducing recidivism. I feel like if you are ignored and thrown away from society and you don't have the right to vote, why would you want to participate in society? It's a huge part of being a citizen. So I think they need to rethink it. So according to Simon, he says, I'm encouraged that ultimately Minnesota can and will get to that outcome, but there's no question that we're in an impasse now from the standpoint of the leadership in various caucuses. And so that impasse makes imminent action unlikely. So don't expect it to change anytime soon in our state of Minnesota. Oh, I just saw that you wrote, Martin. I'm using an Android, very anti-5G smart meters. 5G is 60 megahertz, interferes with your oxygen absorption. I don't know if it does. That science stuff, I don't even know. I just don't have that good of a phone. Like, eventually I'll probably like get whatever and then go, oh, is this what's killing my brain? Probably. Just I always like turn my ringer off all the time. I'm the worst technology person for that because I'm like, I don't want anyone to call me because I'm an introvert. But also like holding stuff up to your head all the time, putting like electronic brainwaves right up to your head seems like a bad idea. So like I'll do a Zoom meeting before I will do a phone call anytime. So don't call me. That's all. Okay, I think I have one more thing in news and I'm almost out of time. Which was that other one? Nope, skipping that. No. Did you guys see that Fauci? I keep wanting to call him Fosse, like he's like a dance person. Fauci, like he had the email thing that came out this week where he's like some of the stuff that he believes was actually the very libertarian party kind of stuff, and they're holding it against him. So now he's getting canceled. How funny is that? You know, what comes around goes around. You know, like I think they're just like a bunch of piranhas in Washington. They just eat each other up. Like you're their best friend, and then they hate you, and then they eat you, and then they're like, "Oh, he was so great. We miss him so much." And you're like, "Why? Because you can't eat him." Oh, and hello from Oregon. So anyway, I'm gonna God cat is just flipping everywhere tonight. So there's more intellectual freedom news. You can go to the intellectual freedom blog, just Google American Library Association intellectual freedom blog, and there's news every week. There's so much that I've ran out of time, and it's kind of cool just like looking through it. I get kind of depressed. I met with my Minnesota Intellectual Freedom Committee this week, and there is actually news this week from a public school that not public school, a public library up in the Twin Cities that their library board told them that they can't teach about racial racial issues, like Martin, like George Floyd and what everything that's been going on up in the Twin Cities. They don't want them to talk about it, so they're going through legal channels to see if they can fight it. So I will keep you posted about that. That's like just percolating right now, but when I know more, I'll share it here. So there's lots going on. It's just nothing that's definite and like I can show tangible what's happening. But I hope you guys have a great week. It was wonderful getting to see you all again, and I will keep you updated on what's going on with the degree and what's going on with Liberty Librarian. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care. Love you guys. Nice to see you all. Have a wonderful week. See you later.